Hello. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Jean Widner, the co-owner of Wild Divine. Now, I need to confess something to you all and ask for your support here today because this is the first webinar I have ever done. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm really excited to have this opportunity to be here with you today, and I hope that this is fun and informative for everyone. Please don't be shy about asking questions as we go. Type them into the webinar box as you have them, and I'll do my best to answer you. So today you're going to learn how easy mind-body training can be. You're going to learn how to create your own time machine. If you spend 10 minutes meditating in the morning, it's going to feel like you're getting an extra hour in the day. And we achieve this ultimate state of flow in the day through what we call coherence. By the end of the webinar, you're going to actually see how to achieve coherence live on screen. And you'll take away knowing the 4 things that you must do to achieve all of this. So I know a lot of you out there are sitting there thinking, meditation, mind-body training, mindfulness, maybe you've taken a course in this or bought other CDs or tapes and books, and a lot of you are probably thinking, I've tried this and it didn't work for me, or maybe this isn't just for me at all. And I can understand that because sometimes meditation, while it sounds very simple, it can also be a very tricky thing to learn. But I'm going to prove to you that you can make mind-body training work for you in your daily life. And I'm going to show you how you can learn to meditate easily and quickly. And you'll do this anytime that you need to. Our mission at Wild Divine is to bring the profound changes of mindfulness and meditation to everyone because we believe it matters. It's the one daily practice that can have the most impact on people's lives by improving your relationships, improving your mental focus, and helping you become more resilient and better able to manage the stress that seems to be a part of everyone's life. We believe that we can do that more successfully for everyone because we've combined the ancient wisdom of meditation with the very modern science of biofeedback. So picture this. This could be your life. Imagine that you feel more confident, that you have more energy, and that you can get more done in your day. Imagine that your life flows, that you spend the majority of your time doing the things that matter the most to you. Imagine that you can stay calm under pressure and that you can achieve that relaxed place inside yourself on demand when you need it the most. We're going to show you how, and it's actually easier than you think. Meditation, mindfulness, and mind-body training are being shown in numerous studies out there that they can help people with all kinds of things, specifically feelings of depression or anxiety, that they can help with the chronic stress and feeling worried all the time about money or relationships, pressures of your jobs, family obligations. Meditation's been shown to be helpful with physical problems and physical discomforts. It can help you feel less fatigued and address low energy if that's been a chronic issue for you, and being able to focus and get things done. Our customers and members of our community have told us for years how they have been helped by using the methods we've laid out for them in our programs more than any other tool they've used. And what's even more important is that our Wild Divine programs are in use by professionals all over the U.S. and the world. Hospitals such as Nationwide Children's Hospitals, the Mayo Clinic, and the Veterans Administration all use our programs to help people with physical issues and discomforts. We're also in use in schools and universities such as Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Oregon State, and Iowa State, among many others. Those universities have our programs available for students to use in their counseling centers, and oftentimes they've set up what they kind of call mind spas, if you will, where students can come and they can rent a room privately and have a meditation station, and our programs are among the favorite that students use. And then parents, grandparents, and people of all ages who just felt like they wanted to learn more about meditation or make some profound improvements in their lives and improve their well-being.
Now, it's important to note here that we're not a medical device. We are a consumer level tool that does incorporate very established science, the established science of biofeedback, but we have done this in a very easy to use and accessible manner. We've been working with some of the best experts in wellness for years. People such as Dr. Dean Ornish, Dr. Andrew Weil, and a host of others have contributed their teachings and techniques to our programs, but you'll hear more about them later. So I started mind-body training myself about 9 years ago when my husband Kyle, who's also the co-owner of Wild Divine, started his own meditation practice. Kyle started meditating because he wanted to improve his mental focus, among other things. And I noticed that it helped him in a lot of ways. And it made me think back to my own mother, who had a lot of problems in her life when I was little. Among the things that she did to start improving her life was she started practicing TM, or transcendental meditation. And you know, she got better. Her migraines went away, and she became a happier person. So for me, when I began meditating, I wasn't looking to solve any particular problem in my life, but I'd seen how it had helped Kyle. And I thought, okay, I will try this myself. Now, I didn't know how in the heck I was going to fit this into my busy life. I was kind of like that guy you see sitting there on the grass in front of you. I was an outside sales rep, and I was on the road in my car every single day from 7 o'clock in the morning on. And I really didn't know how on earth I was going to squeeze a meditation practice into my day. But sure enough, in the morning, I got up and started meditating for just 10 to 15 minutes a day. And I really was amazed at the change. I was more effective. I wasn't trying to multitask as much. I would just do one thing, do it really well. And it was amazing because I got more done. It was also when I realized that this was kind of like my own personal time machine. Once I started incorporating these mind-body practices into my daily life, I had more stamina. I had more focus. And while I was good at my job before, I got better. And then what was also more amazing was at the end of the day, I came through the door and I had more energy. So then I was able to be more the things that I wanted to be in my own life. I was able to be a better wife to my husband, and we had a happier home life. And it really wasn't for any reason other than that I started meditating. And so this is why I would say that it's like meditation is a time machine. If you give yourself 10 minutes meditating in the morning, you're going to get like an extra hour of productive, high energy living out of your day. So let's talk now a bit about the science of why mind-body training can be so powerful. And I'm going to show you the secret to the Wild Divine system. It's what we call coherence. But I'll get back to that in a second. Meditation, mindfulness, and mind-body training are all focused around one thing: your breath. Now, our body's nervous system is the key. Most of you are probably aware of the fight or flight mechanism that we have built into us. And thank goodness it's there. I mean, when we need to react instantaneously to a situation, our body takes over, that dinosaur brain kicks in, and we have that adrenaline surge that we need. We get more oxygen into the muscles that we need. And thank goodness that we have the ability to do that autonomically. In other words, it happens without our thinking about it. But that old dinosaur brain that we have is really not what we want our brains and bodies to have in charge most of the time. We want to be in our higher brain, our prefrontal cortex. This is the part of the brain that you're using right now. This is where logic and reason and higher learning all take place. It's also from here that is the foundation for all of our relationships. Without these higher learning centers of our minds activated, we can't be whole people. We're not capable
of having loving connections with each other, or to have compassion, or to have patience with each other, unless this part of ourselves is what's doing the work. And how miserable would we be if this part wasn't a dominant part of our lives? But the way our brains work is that sometimes just a thought can trigger the dinosaur brain back into action, even though there's no real physical danger. So our minds wander down many paths of thought all the time. Think about this. In the course of a day, you think about all sorts of random things. One of the best disciplines that comes, though, from mind-body training is to become fully aware of and stay in the present moment. So there was an interview that I saw about 6 months ago. It was wonderful. It was with John Kabat-Zinn, and he was on 60 Minutes. And John Kabat-Zinn asked the interviewer, how many people were in the shower with you this morning? Funny question, right? But it was a really important question, because he talked about what he was saying is, okay, so you wake up in the morning and your entire to-do list just downloads into your brain. You get up, you have a cup of coffee, you eat something, maybe you go get a workout in you, and then you hit the shower. How many people are there with you in the shower? What are you thinking about at that moment? You're thinking about the meeting that you have today, the parent-teacher conference that you have to go to. You're thinking about all of the things that you need to do and the people that you need to interact with while you do it. You're not just taking a shower, are you? Your mind is elsewhere. Another thing that happens with this all the time is how often have you been in your car and you've driven home from work, or driven to the store, or driven somewhere with your kids, and you get out of the car and you realize that everything you just did was completely on autopilot. And that if you tried to think about actually driving and making that trip, you wouldn't be able to do it. And it's because our minds are constantly wandering. Our minds are constantly thinking about the past or thinking about the future. And if your brain is worrying about the past or the future, it can start to feel nervous or even threatened. So that old rumbling dinosaur brain will kick back in. And that doesn't help you deal all that well with what's actually going on in your life right in front of you. And this is where it can be different. And this is what we teach you. We teach you to use the power of your breath, your thoughts, and your mind-body connection to change the outcomes of all of those feelings about the past, and improve your ability to affect positive changes in your life here and now. We use what we call coherence to help you train your mind and body through the power of your breath to stay more fully present and relaxed, even when you're in stressful situations. So what is coherence? Coherence is a very specific breathing pattern that you can learn how to do. When you know how to, many positive things happen in the body. So not only is your brain and your body getting exactly the right amount of oxygen that you need in your system, but also what happens is that when you are in a state of coherence, you feel more relaxed and in control, but you'll also have more positive emotions. And it's also the place where intuitive hunches can come from, or those aha moments can kind of break through. Creative thinking and problem solving are heightened. That's the state of flow, where things happen without you thinking of it. You're just in the zone, in the mode, and everything is clicking along. A state of coherence is also a place from which we can connect to that divine consciousness. So here's what I'm going to show you in just a minute, though, is that positive emotions happen when you're in a coherent state, but the reverse can actually be true. So positive emotions like gratitude, compassion, and empathy on their own can create a state of coherence in your body. And so this is incredibly powerful because, again, if you think about our minds,
And what were we just talking about? The way that maybe sometimes we're being productive, and maybe sometimes we're thinking positively. But sometimes our brains run away from us and we focus on the negative instead of the positive. Well, what if thinking about something that you're grateful for, or really working on developing compassion for someone, even though you're angry with them? Think about the power of that for a moment. Because what I'm saying to you is, not only do we have the ability to breathe and put ourselves into a coherent state from which we can respond better to things, but I'm also suggesting sort of that the other side of this can happen. The tail can wag the dog, so to speak, in that thinking positive emotions can actually also help you be in a coherent state, and again, help you respond more positively to those stressful situations. So you're going to get to see all of that here in a few minutes. One of the things that we focus on to achieve coherence is what we call the heart breath. This is a 10-second breathing cycle where you spend 5 seconds full on your inhalation and then 5 seconds out on your exhalation. And it's really important that you not overbreathe, but that you breathe all the way through your diaphragm, all the way up and all the way back down. So we measure that in our system here, which you're going to see here in just a few minutes, with this little gizmo here called the IOM PE, or Personal Edition. And so you can see the little green part. It is roughly about the size of an iPad, an iPod or an iPhone. And it has two parts to it. It plugs into any standard USB port on any Mac or PC computer. And then you've got the other part that very gently and very easily connects to your ear. And so I'm going to do this here in just a few minutes. And so I'm hooking myself up right now. Okay, and then I'm going to close out of this slide presentation here, and we're going to actually open up the Relaxing Rhythms program, and then I'll show you around in there. Okay, I'm going to turn the music down here for a second and just kind of show you around in here from the home page of Relaxing Rhythms, which, like I said, is a computer program. It's fully compatible with all Mac and PCs, so it's really easy to use anywhere you are. There's 3 parts to this program that we work with. We have the guided training program, which is the 15-step guided training portion of it. We have the self-exploration portion of it, which we recommend that you can use after you've done this. And then we have the raw IOM grapher, which is what I'm going to show you first here, because I want you to see the measurements that we take and how coherence is. And we have a question, so let me go ahead and take this because it's a good one to ask right now. And it's about the little ear clip device. And someone is asking if this is comfortable and if it interferes with your meditation. And the answer is it's absolutely comfortable, and no, it doesn't distract you from meditation at all. In fact, I will oftentimes have this on, when we're in the course of our day and we're testing or doing other things with some of our programs, and I'll forget I'm wearing it completely. It really doesn't interfere. It's very comfortable and it's super easy to use. So let's go ahead into the grapher here right now. And we've got our cues all set up. Okay, so let me show you what it is that you're seeing here. So first off, this is this little breathing prompt here. If you look at the butterfly, you'll see how its wings are expanding and contracting, expanding and contracting. And they're doing that
in the time of that heart breath, that 10-second count. So you've got 5 seconds on the inhalation and 5 seconds on the exhalation. And so you can hear there's also an auditory cue so that you can completely close your eyes, say, for example, when you're meditating, and you don't have to watch that. And so that makes it really helpful because you can do other things and not have to necessarily be attuned to it, but also keeping time with it. So the other things that we've got here happening, you can see this is just my heart rate that's just banging along right here. And you can see that numerically displayed here. Now, of course, I'm not in a very coherent state right now because I'm just talking to you. And of course, as I mentioned, I'm a little nervous too. So I don't think my normal resting heart rate is up in the 80s or wherever it is. But one of the interesting things about our bodies is that every time we inhale, actually, our heart rate increases. And then every time we exhale, our heart rate slightly decreases. And so what you're going to start to see being mapped out here, which again is not a great pictorial representation because I'm talking to you. But what you start to see, though, is a sine wave pattern that forms. So the other two things that we have going on here, which is this coherence score, which is a numerical representation, and then the average coherence, is what that is measuring is as a percentage basis, how much of my time I am spending breathing along with the butterfly. And of course, I'm sort of trying to do that while I'm talking to you, but once again, it's just not something that you can do when you're talking. It's something that's much easier to do when you're listening, when you're silent. And so that's what's being represented here right now, is so that like right at this moment, roughly, I'm like at 40% coherence, which is of course really low. And overall for this session, this is an average, and you can see the elapsed time. And that was just a little bump there because I moved my head. So sorry about that. Okay, so, and then down here, we have this color spectrum, which again just gives you a very easy visual representation of this coherence and what it is that we're measuring. And I'm sorry, I'm bouncing around here a little bit too much, so bear with me. That color spectrum goes from yellow when you're in a very low state of coherence, which obviously I am right now, and goes all the way to a light green, then a deep green, then a light blue, and then a very, very deep blue when you're in a very deep state of coherence. And then, of course, you'll see those averages greatly increase at that time once you're in there. So, okay, and I'm having too much problem here because I'm moving around, but we're going to go take a look together right now at, hold on, at one of the guided meditations. So let me get this set up here for you. In this guided meditation section, you've got 15 complete individual steps. Each of those steps is set up in a very particular order. You've got 3 main sections of this program. The first one, we're working on the basic skills of mindfulness and meditation and breath work. In the second section, we start to work on those emotional components that we've discussed, like compassion and gratitude and empathy for both yourself and for others. And then in the third section is where we try to pull it all together and bring all of these practices back into your daily life. So we're going to go take a look at one of these meditations now and listen along with that.
Now let's get relaxed. Give yourself a stretch. Shake out any parts of the body that feel stiff. Make sure you don't have any tight clothing. Take a good deep breath. And now let's work for a few minutes at making your breathing deeper, quieter, slower, and more regular. Remember, these are the 4 qualities of breathing that you want to develop over time. So first, just observe the breath for a minute. And now consciously make your breath deeper, slower, quieter, and more regular. Good. And remember, this is the technique that you want to draw on. If anything happens that makes you upset, that knocks you off balance, just for as many breaths as you can, make your breathing deeper, slower, quieter, and more regular. And by doing so, you are making your body function better, you're quieting your mind, harmonizing your nervous system.
Okay, we're going to stop there on that one. And let me mute this here for another second. Wasn't that lovely? And didn't you notice how beautiful the background changes as you get deeper into your meditation? So let's go to the third section here called self-exploration. And what I'm going to do is you're going to get to see me graphing myself live while listening to a meditation. And let's just pick one here. I'm going to kill that audio cue. And let's get started on this one. Don't worry, we won't do the whole thing.
Finding inner happiness is cultivating compassion in our heart as a daily practice. The Dalai Lama says, oneself is the first beneficiary when cultivating compassion. Through compassion, one becomes truly happier and with a profound satisfaction and greater sense of meaning and purpose in life. Now let us do a meditation on compassion by cultivating a deeper realization of the basic nature of our humanity. This is meditation using the power of contemplative thought. It is a powerful tool to cultivate compassion. It is like churning the milk which helps to manifest the butter. We are able to manifest the butter of compassion from the milk of our heart and mind through the power of contemplative thoughts. Now let us practice this together. Contemplate this. When I get up in the morning, I brush my teeth, take a shower, and try to have a nice breakfast. I also try to have a good education, nice house to live, nice car to drive. Why? Why I do all this? Because I have this basic instinct that I want happiness and do not want suffering. That's why also when people are kind and helpful to me, I like that and I appreciate it. When people are unkind and harmful to me, I naturally do not like it. Can you feel this? Now, I should reflect this same reality upon other people. Then I should see that they are also pretty much doing the same thing as I do, like brushing their teeth, to wanting good education, good partner in life, and good home to live. Why? Because they are also same as me, that they want happiness and do not want suffering. They also appreciate when you are kind to them. They also don't like if you are unkind and harmful to them. Are you contemplating with me?
Okay, so you can kind of see there the various states that I was in as I was listening to that. And I found it even kind of funny because I fell into this nice, beautiful, blue, coherent state there for a while. And then when I even started thinking, oh yeah, that's right, I need to actually pay attention to what I'm doing here again, I noticed that, even just thinking about something else, I came out of that coherent state. So let's go back into the grapher. I see here we've got another question from someone asking me to explain really what coherence actually is. And so I'll try to do this again one more time very quickly in the grapher. So let me open this up. Nah, we'll just leave that off. So once again, we'll go back into the grapher, and the coherence is the evenness of the time in between your breath cycles. So remember how Dr. Weil was talking. You want your breath to be deeper, slower, quieter, and more regular. And it is that that really puts you into a place of coherence. And so if you remember when I was breathing before, there was that nice, even sine wave pattern that, went like this going across the screen. It isn't at all like what that looks like right now because, of course, I'm talking, so I can't be coherent and talk at the same time. But what you're measuring in that coherence is an evenness of time below those lower points. So let me just see if I can get back into that place here and let us see what that looks like again one more time. Okay, so now you can see there with just a very few cycles of breath, I was able to get back into that nice, deep, blue, coherent zone. And so what that means is that the evenness of this interval is more steady and more consistent. That would have been in time, say, for example, with that heart breath. So this is 10 seconds, that's 10 seconds, that's 10 seconds. And so that's what you're measuring there in this coherence spectrum, if you will. So I hope that that gives this a good visual explanation here for you. So again, how did we get there? And I'm going to go ahead and close out of this now. How did we get there? It was through a deeper, slower, quieter, and more regular breathing pattern. And the thing is you can take that with you anywhere you want. You can meditate, if you will, using that basic breathing technique when you're standing in line at the post office, when you do need just those couple of quick minutes at the end of your workday, say before you walk in the house, so that you can shift gears mentally between what your workday was like, what the drive home was like, and then be ready for your kids, your spouse, and all of the wonderful activities that you want to engage in that night. It can be used when you need to de-stress, when you need to calm yourself down from a particular situation because you don't really want to kill your kids or take your boss's head off or say that terrible thing you almost want to say to that customer. We've all been there. And if you can use this to help yourself get a grip and not let that dinosaur brain take over, but stay in the happy place, stay in the flow place, you can see how easy you can actually train yourself to achieve that. And we got another question here too, from someone asking if that grapher can be used with other CDs or hypnosis programs and things like that. And absolutely. In fact, I really do think that that's one of the most powerful things that this program can give to people, is because basically what we're doing with mind-body training is you're creating muscle memory. So whatever those lessons are that you're taking in during that time, if it's a hypnosis CD where you're working on maybe feeling more self-confident, or maybe you're working on, going away from a negative behavior like smoking cessation, or maybe you're working on affirmations, whatever it is, when you anchor something, not just in your mind, but give it that deeper layer of your physical memory, when you combine that with a muscle memory, if you will, it makes whatever that training and whatever that teaching is so much more potent, because it will take hold not only in your mind, but in your body too. And you can reinforce it then any time that you want to. So I hope now that all of you can see for yourselves how powerful it is to be able to harness the power of your mind and body so easily, and that you really can train yourself to do this in just a few minutes a day. I want so much to thank you all for being here. I hope that you have enjoyed this call and that you feel like you've learned a lot about how anyone can learn to meditate, and that it can improve your lives in so many ways by making it measurable and customizable to you. And I hope you remember how wonderful you might be feeling right now if you breathed and meditated along with us today. So we've created a very special package for you, and you'll see all the details for it live on the screen below. So please take advantage of this, and I know that you'll be thrilled with the results. So again, I'm Jean Widner, and from all of us at Wild Divine, we thank you so much. Be well.